Sponsored by Great White Hot Sauce. It's a small batch, handmade hot sauce, made specially for you. So if you like hot sauce, you'll love Great White Hot Sauce. It's the hot sauce that bites. Find it at www.trygreatwhite.com.
Well, here we are, episode 60. Wow. And no end in sight. On this episode, we have our first returning guests. Yeah, we have the guys from the Music Relish podcast. These guys are good. I give them that. They know their stuff. Well, if they didn't, I wouldn't have them on, would I? So sit back, relax, and enjoy some music talk with the guys from the Music Relish podcast. Enjoy the show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
The KOFB studio presents Milk Crate and Turntables, a music discussion podcast hosted by Scott McLean with his co-host Jack Calabrese. Now, let's talk music. Enjoy the show.
Thank you, Amanda, for that wonderful introduction. Welcome to the podcast. You know the name, so I'm not going to say it. We're streaming live right now over Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you watch it on YouTube and you're a first-time watcher, hit the subscribe button, hit the alert bell. That lets you know when we go live, but we go live usually every Wednesday night. So there is no Jack again. Big surprise. He's a busy guy. He's all right. I'm not going to remove his name from the introduction yet. No, I actually probably never will. But in his stead, I had my man Tom Spallone, but he's not feeling well. Tom Spallone of the with the Going Postal podcast. So if you want to hear a good podcast about people losing their fucking minds and killing people over mayonnaise, I still love that episode. Still love that. As a matter of fact, I just sent him something recently. I think yesterday I sent it to him. It's not funny. It's not a funny story, but it's kind of fucked up. It's right up his alley. Evidently in Atlanta, some guy shot 2 Subway subs employees for putting too much mayo on his sub. Now, I'm not going to make light of that. But if you ask me, you can never put too much fucking mayo on a sub. I would have probably tipped those people. You can never have too much mayo on a sub. So I said, Tom's under the weather. And in his stead, I'm bringing back the guys from the Music Relish podcast. I got a lot of good feedback from the last time we did the show. I told them they're welcome to come on anytime they want. They helped me out in a pickle because Jack's not here again and Tom's sick. So I'm not going to say they're number 3 on the list. They're in their own. These guys are in their own category. Let's just say I brought in the fucking A team, the backup team, the A backup team. All right, let me bring on Mark Smith. What's up, Mark?
How you doing, Scott?
Doing all right. And Louis Colicchio.
Hey, Scott, how are you?
What's up, buddy? How you guys doing?
Doing all right, doing all right.
All right.
My son just started working at Subway 2 days ago.
Oh, shit.
I saw that in the news. I'm like, come on, man.
Tell him to watch the mayonnaise levels. It's like
he hates mayo. I'm like, I love it. Like you, put some more in the sandwich.
Oh, yeah. I've asked for extra mayo, and then I'm like, that's it?
These are coming.
So and I'll get to you, Mark. I'm probably gonna do this. I have another live stream it's just for like my friends on Facebook. I do this live stream, and it actually is a YouTube channel, The King of Facebook, and it's a whole character that I created. It came from an argument between me and a buddy of mine on Facebook, and his response at the end of the argument was, "Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot you're the king of Facebook." So I took the ball and ran with it, right? So I do this character, the king of Facebook, and I get my co-host Big Bubba, and I think I do it on Thursday nights, and I think tomorrow night, speaking of mayo, I'm going to eat a peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwich, I think, live. Because I read about it today. Evidently, it's a thing in the South.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it is.
And
You're not in the South. You're in Florida.
exactly. But I can't. I love peanut butter and I love mayo. I don't know. I'm just going to eat. I'm not going to pre-test it. I'm going to eat it live on my live stream. And I vowed to eat the whole sandwich. So even if it's not good,
how heavy are you going to lay it
it
on?
Oh,
Are we talking like an inch of peanut butter, an inch of mayo, or just?
Yeah. What do you think? Should I ease into that? Should I just put like a skim and a skim, or?
I think it should
what would
look
you
like
do,
an old.
Mark, what would you do?
You're going to have the French Revolution in your stomach. But I agree with you. I love mayo. I put it on too many things. I put it on Italian heroes.
Yeah.
Tom hates that.
Oh,
when I
wait
do
a
that.
minute. Wait a
Yeah.
minute.
With the oil and vinegar.
Yeah.
Actually, with the oil and vinegar. Yeah.
No.
It's
What are you from Pennsylvania? Come on, man.
it's good.
I'm from Jersey, Lou.
It's good.
I get killed for doing that.
Well, you hardcore Italians, you stick to the script. You stick to
Absolutely.
that
Oh.
Italian script, buddy.
And chicken and barbecue sauce on pizza? No.
I'm Irish.
I'm not saying it's not pizza. I just can't do it.
So I'm gonna agree with you. I went to where did we go? So my wife and I went to Naples about a month ago, and I was told this pizza place, go to this pizza place. And so I go there, and the girl who I know from Boston said, you got to try their meatballs. And she wasn't fucking lying. The meatballs were like fucking unbelievable. So I thought, all right, and they got these unique style pizzas. So, yeah, Naples, Florida, not Naples, Italy. I want to clarify that. I ordered this, like you said, a fucking pork and chicken, blah, 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 pizza, personal pizza with the barbecues. Yeah, that was an epic fail.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
Go on.
It shouldn't be that complicated.
It's one of those things you look at it and you're like this. It should be good, but you're expecting a pizza taste, right? It's deceiving because you see the pizza and you think it's gonna take. It was the French Revolution in my stomach.
Bastille Day. I call it a tort. It's almost like a pastry or something. It's when you do that.
Yeah, so you're right. I will never do that again. I should have just went with a regular fucking pizza, but no. This is why I don't go outside the box. I go to an Italian restaurant, and we'll get to the music, people, but this is I like food talk too.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I should do a food podcast too. I forgot what I was going to say. That's short.
When you go to an Italian restaurant.
You
You stick to the basics.
Chicken palm. I am a chicken palm connoisseur. I go outside with the veal sometimes, but I feel guilty sometimes. Sometimes I don't.
Me too.
And I don't feel guilty when I'm eating a giant veal chop palm. I really don't feel that guilty, I mean, the thing was going to go anyway, so might as well. So
and maybe they're doing it a little differently now. I mean, they're still killing it, but they're not hanging it from a hammock like they used to.
Here we go. Mark, what's your preference when you go to an Italian restaurant?
I'm an eggplant parm guy. That's my thing. I try to tell myself I'm being healthy because I'm not having meat. Of course,
and the cheese,
deep fried,
and the
The
sauce.
bread's about this big. You got this much cheese on it, but I'm being healthy. But I do like the taste. But I got to tell you about pizza. I have bad memories of pizza. So I've been going to Vermont every summer my whole life. My grandparents lived up there. And back in the 70s, if you went to Vermont and ordered a pizza, you would literally get American cheese on it. And even when I was like 7 years old, it was bad. That was just bad. And I was a teenager and I went to a deli and I ordered a Italian Hero and I had to tell them how to make it. And it's not like that anymore. You know, it's better now. But that was, I love pizza, but I shudder when I think of that. American cheese on pizza. Ugh.
Yeah.
When I first moved here, there was no pizza in Asheville or bagels. There was one brick oven place, but everything else, I said, frozen pizza. I said, yeah, all right. But then once we started becoming more cosmopolitan and pizza places everywhere now, and it's good. There's one place, actually, your pizza cost you like $40. It is this. It's the size of a parachute. I forgot the name.
Well, then that's worth it then.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, how do you carry that thing home? You got to put it on the roof of the car. You know.
Yeah, it's like a
but,
28-inch pizza.
Yeah. It's like,
so,
honey,
yeah, honey, hold, it's raining. It's raining. You can use the box to cover your head. So Tom sent me the text yesterday calling in sick, and I'm requesting a doctor's note from him.
Absolutely.
It's going to be mandatory doctor's note for Tom. Next time he comes on the show, I want to see him put it up to the screen, and I'll know if it's fake.
Check the name. Make sure it doesn't say Dr. Feelgood, okay?
Exactly.
He's known for his Monday morning call-outs, too. You know, I worked with the guy, so he's going to kill me.
Hey, did you ever notice that Steve Carell looks like Alice Cooper? Think about that.
Yeah.
Steve Carell looks like Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
Go and Google it. Go and Google it. I'm telling you, he looks like Alice Cooper.
When Alice has his makeup off, he looks totally different. He looks just like a funny guy. You know?
Yeah. If Steve Carell dressed up as Alice Cooper on Halloween, no one would know the difference.
He's despicable.
Yeah.
He described himself as, he goes, I'm so bland. He goes, I'm like beige against a wall of tan. I got him up here. All right. Oh.
The smile.
Yeah, okay. That's interesting.
He could be his brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just an observation.
Yeah.
It's an observation.
Yep.
Hey, so I think you told us the origin the last time you guys were on of the Music Relish podcast. I think you said Perry Dedovich kind of pulled you guys together.
Yeah.
But how did, what was the driving force behind it? Did you guys used to have this conversation about music? What was the genesis of it?
Just random conversations that, they went on pretty long. We know each other a long time. I've known Mark a long time at this point, pretty longer. I met Mark through Perry. But we'd bring up some weird points about some bands that we saw, and those little rabbit holes you go into, and sometimes it all comes back to the same point. So like anything else, Perry said one time, he goes, dude, we're doing a podcast. And I'm like, I guess of sorts, so we decided to take those phone conversations and just blast them out there. But then, we did about 6 of them. They're kind of funny starting out too. As you know, there's been some technical issues, and I didn't have internet here for about a month. It was insane. But we did a prog rock one with Mark, and on Perry's suggestion, he goes, well, Mark's going to join us. So I said, okay. And it was fun because, it was nice bouncing all those things around. And so after that, we just said, well, it adds some balance to it. Let's bring Mark on. He's got nothing to do on Sunday nights,
That's right. They gave me the full interview. They interviewed me. I had to fill out the application. HR
it was a vetting process.
Yeah. The hazing was just, jeez.
The hazing, the painful cavity searches. Perry did that, by the way.
He had to get on the show. You had to go suffer the rigors.
You notice he's not here again. He's like our Jack now.
Well, as long as he shows up for your podcast,
yeah,
he's
he
okay.
does. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Jack, right now, I think I don't know where he is. He's somewhere. He's traveling again. I got a chance to hang out with him last weekend. I went up to Boston. So, and nothing's changed. He's still not here. So, how many episodes have you guys done?
We just did, 31st, Mark? I think
31 was season 1. We actually did season 2 because
no, that's right. Yeah, we got renewed.
Sound. Yeah.
So we did season 2, episode 1.
So you do seasons, like you guys are going to take a break?
Well, no, we, since we went cameras and kind of up the format, with different, what do you call it, the different site that we're using Riverside. We just said, kind of clean slate because from my point of view, I'm the one that had all the technical issues, using a phone in the middle of nowhere. So in February and parts of March, there's some things that I did just unlistenable. In retrospect, it's kind of funny, but this was like a rebirth for us. I figured like a rebirth of sorts. So we got better audio, we got video, and
it'll be season 2 forever.
Yeah, I think it was just made just to leave that part of it behind. We're still on the same. On Spotify and stuff, you still see the old episodes, but we just figured, it was like Music Relish Podcast, 2.0.
Right. So you have no problem keeping those. Aren't you afraid that like someone's going to listen to one of the first episodes and say, whereas if they listen to you more polished?
Yeah.
And I'm not suggesting anything. I have that with my podcast, with this podcast. I go back and listen to the early episodes, and I kind of cringe. I guess it's like that with every podcast at the beginning, unless you are, I don't know, you come in with a team and
right, and rehearsals or whatever. You do some cast-off episodes first. We just went right out. Probably like you, we went right out of the shoot. Perry and I laughed about the first one because it's just him and on. He's like, we're like, Lou, you on? Perry, you on? We're on the air, man. Like, it's just. So it's naive,
right?
I think some of the content was worth keeping. There's a couple episodes. There's one where I went up and said, "Screw it!" I flushed the toilet into the microphone because I just couldn't. It just wasn't happening. So I did my Archie Bunker moment. But someone's gonna listen to that. They're never gonna come back. But
I remember that one.
We've had it.
Guys, I got to get off now. Bye.
Yeah, it was just frustrating.
Kind of like my 50th episode with Jack. I was very frustrated. He really got under my skin.
Really?
Yeah, I actually, I think I said this last time. I very rarely edit this podcast. I like the organic conversations, but Jack just was pushing my buttons that night, just strumming the guitar.
Oh, I like that.
I think I saw that one in particular. You threatened him, didn't you?
After him, I just went silent. And he just kept doing it. He didn't get the hint. And in my head, I was literally ready to just say, I'm done, and just cut it. And I did say to him, this might not make it out onto the podcast. But cooler heads prevailed, and I just pushed through it for the sake of the podcast. And I went in the next morning, and I edited out that 4 minutes or 3 minutes of me just not saying a word. And Jack going, what's the matter? What's the matter? Bring, brum, 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 bring.
I think he was playing as you were doing the top songs of that year. He was playing them or something.
He probably was. I don't know. But it just, we have those moments. We have those moments, But the show must go on. Yeah. So you said, how many? 30?
31, I guess. I think we did 30. And then we just did the new season, whatever, the first one on Sunday. That's on YouTube now, too.
So that's a good idea to season 2 will be a whole new kind of start.
Yeah.
And then like Mark just said, just keep it season 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
It's called season 2. We don't sound like shit. That's what it's.
Right. There's no dramatic finale to this season.
It's just
all three of us end up in a virtual knife fight or something.
So, Mark, what's your favorite episode out of the Music Relish podcast?
I think my favorite was the first one I listened to because I didn't hear about the podcast till they were about 3 or 4 episodes in. It was the Lou, you did the one on bubblegum music, right?
Yeah.
that one was great because you guys were laughing when you were talking. You were bringing up these names of these producers. I'm like Randy McAndy and all this stuff. But after the show, I just started YouTube and all these bubblegum songs. I was like, oh yeah, these are great songs.
All right. Give me an example of a bubblegum song. Bubblegum music.
Well, the big one is the Archies, right?
Yeah, Sugar.
Ah, okay.
Covered by Wilson Pickett covered it.
Yeah. I think he did.
Yummy, yummy, yummy. I got love in my tummy. Right? 1, 2, 3, red light.
So
the worst one of all. It's terrible. Simple Simon Says, put your hand in. It's childish.
Incense and peppermint.
But you know what? It's part of our music history. Growing up.
I was a little boy, and you saw the Archies and the Banana Splits and all those other shows, and that stuff didn't seem offensive to me. This stuff's definitely catchy, and I think a lot of that stuff was done by the same group of producers. A lot of these bands were kind of made up bands, but I think the Cars. You're Just What I Needed is a take from one of those songs. It was Yummy Yummy, I think. It's the same. Yummy Yummy Yummy. And so, if you live, like we were talking about the Cars a lot lately, actually. And Rick Hogan, he had that had to be in his head, just to me, it was definitely not a ripoff, but it just sounded like, okay.
Well, he didn't get sued.
There's one for the bubblegum. No, he didn't. No.
He didn't get sued.
Well, Lou, Archies, weren't they a response to the Monkees? That the Monkees, they wanted to write their own music, and that producer said, fine, go do your own music. I'm going to make a cartoon band that'll sell more records than you, right?
Yeah, literally a cartoon. They're animated, but the Archies was an old-time comic strip.
They're
about as real as Josie and the Pussycats until they made the movie about it.
It was like spite against the Monkees because they wanted to do their own music, and I forget who it was, their producer. Yeah.
Well, the producers did a bunch of that same stuff. They were just like, well, we've got the Archies, and then we'll just go over here with the whoever the other bands were. I can't think of their names right now. Yeah. The 1910 Fruit Gum Company.
There you go.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
So there was just these really smart producers, writers saying, like they're probably older too, saying no one's going to listen to this stuff from older guys. Have these younger dudes do it. The Monkees are their own thing too, though. But
the marketing for that stuff. Like you just said, Josie and the Pussycats. The Hair Bear Bunch, didn't they have their own band too, or something? That cartoon, the Hair Bear Bunch. They were
my God! Right.
Afros. I think they had a little band that they played. That was brilliant marketing because they could get music out there and sell the music and promote the show. So you're getting on two different platforms.
Yeah, exactly.
With the Banana Splits, the whole 9 yards. It almost became commonplace in Saturday morning cartoons for them to have a band.
The Groovy Ghoulies.
The Groovy Ghoulies.
Right.
Dude, you just pulled out a good one there.
Remember that was
Loved them.
Yeah. And Frightening Frankie, Dangerous Jack, and Weirdo Wolfie. God.
Look at you.
Oh, man.
Damn, that's signs of a misspent youth.
Look, Joan Jett, what was the Joan Jett thing? The Glories of a Misspent Youth or something?
Yeah.
Glorify it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That shouldn't be any of our heads, though, at this point.
But that's when it was good. Things were good then. Yeah.
I come from a big family, so I'm one of the second youngest out of almost 11. So as a kid, I was one of the kids, and I had older siblings, so all the older classic rock was there. So I listened to it, but I had those, those bubblegum bands. I never had the records, but I was just, it seemed appropriate until you heard Hurdy Gurdy Man. You're like, what's that?
Yeah.
I think having older siblings really helps with your musical development. I had 3 older sisters, and that's how I got into music. They just gave me their albums, or I stole them.
Yeah.
Or you hear them playing them.
Yeah.
Then there was the occasional Archie's 45 on the back of the cereal box.
Really? Was it like an acetate? It was an acetate thing?
Yeah.
Holy.
You could cut it out.
Yeah, man, that's right.
Put it on your stereo, on your little suitcase.
Yeah.
That's
right, the little portable turntable.
Plug it in, put it on there, and drop the needle on it, and it played the Archies.
Oh. Was it actual plastic thing? Or yeah, it had to be like a certain. Okay, like it was an acetate.
It wasn't like a true 45, but there's a way they designed it, how they put it onto the back of, and it was like part of the box. Like it said, cut here, and you had to cut around, which means you had to finish the cereal. Assuming you finished the cereal.
I never waited.
Or just the marshmallows.
Exactly.
My mother freak out. Mark.
Scott, I got to ask you. I noticed behind you, you've got Count Chocula, Blueberry, Frankenberry, and who's the other one? What was your favorite?
I
Chocula.
have Count Chocula. I got Frankenberry and Blueberry.
And Blueberry. I thought I saw a fourth one there.
No. Actually, Fruit Brute would be the fourth one, and I think Yummy Mummy was the fifth one.
Okay. I was a Frankenberry man myself. I was,
Frankenberry's good. I like this, but
Oh,
always just have to go with the Count Chocula. Just have to. Yeah. The chocolate milk at the end is just
all of it.
So, but Frankenberry had strawberry milk.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a coin toss, I guess.
Really nutritious, really good for you.
Oh yeah, remember it used to be called Sugar Smacks?
Yeah.
Then they took the sugar word out of it, called them Super Smacks. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I could
Sister would come in and go, "You want a smack?"
I could go on and on about breakfast cereals from back in the day. But so Lou, what was your favorite episode? Up to date.
Of the old stuff, I did like the one where we talked about a lot of the producers, stuff like with Tom Dowd. I think that was another one of our more academic episodes, because once you start finding out what these guys did. Tom Dowd produced Derek and the Dominoes, Aretha Franklin. I mean, he's one of those top 5 guys. But as I found out, he also worked on the Manhattan Project. Oh my God, that's just like over here and over here. He didn't know. A lot of them didn't know they were building the bomb. They had these separate projects. He was a physicist, so he was working on some type of fusion-y thing. He didn't know was going to blow up Hiroshima and Nagasaki, though, because the classified information. But he found out when he got out, he was so advanced when he got out of the service, he couldn't do anything in the service, so he went to music. And his resume is incredible. Off the top of my head, I mean, I will say everyone knows Derek and the Dominoes. Layla.
Yeah.
So he produced that amongst many, like a lot of Allman Brothers too. But I thought that the way I like music and history, I thought that was one of my favorites too.
I learned a lot from that episode.
I did too. Yeah, we all brought something in, but because I would love to be a music producer. I think that when you want to be a musician when you're younger, when you start finding out how music works and what you can do and the role of the producer, it's so interesting, and it's powerful. Some producers, they're not their law, but they work with the record company. If the record company doesn't like what you did, they're not going to put the record out. So you got to play ball. But it's that outside ear. Most of them are musicians, but I thought that was one of our more fun ones. There's little bits and pieces of everything. My least favorite is when I flushed the toilet into the.
Evidently,
I was gonna quit. I almost quit, not because of anyone. I was just frustrated with trying to deal with this. Especially a couple of things. I thought I had some good shit to lay out there, but it was just all pixelated. So it just sounded like it was just totally bad. We should drop those, Mark. I think those we should just delete.
Well, we're gonna redo them. The ones about producers, because you guys were the reason I went out and bought the Glyn Johns autobiography, because you were talking about him and Glyn Johns, who did Beatles, The Who,
the Eagles. First Eagles album.
Yeah, he when I learned that book gave me an insight into producing, it's just incredible what the guy achieved from England, and he produced the Eagles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we got to redo those for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's an interesting concept. So you can go back and say your episode was producers, and you guys were doing them through a cell phone, and you of course you weren't. You look back now and you're like, but it's great content. It's fucking great content, right? So that's a pretty novel idea to go back and it's not going to be the exact thing.
Right.
But the same topic, and you will discuss a lot of the same. And as that one gets finished, you get rid of the other one.
Yeah.
Oops, I deleted it.
In my opinion, there's about 7 that have to go. I just think, I moved here in February, so February until mid-March, it was just, Well, maybe it's just only a month of Sundays. Maybe it just seemed longer. But even when I was living further up in Barnesville, there was times where it was just because of the reception, it was just kind of going in and out.
Yeah.
This has been such a relief, And
Yeah.
And again, thanks for having us on, Scott. This is great.
Yeah.
Oh no, listen, you guys can
We enjoy your show too. It's great.
Yeah, you guys can come on anytime you want, man. You have an open invitation. We'll
have you on. We'll have you on ours too, if you'd be.
Yeah, that'd be
gracious.
great. I'm not doing nothing Sunday night. I'm retired. I don't have to get up Monday morning.
Nice.
So you guys started doing video now. You have a YouTube channel?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's it called?
I think it's just Music Relish Podcast.
Music Relish
Same
Podcast
thing, yeah.
YouTube
Yeah.
channel. And you just published your first video?
Yep.
All right.
It's
Excellent.
on Spotify too, but my Spotify kept freezing up on my television. So, but on YouTube, the whole thing is there. I don't know if it's just because my Spotify acts weird sometimes.
So-
I thought it was a glitch, but I don't think it is.
Spotify video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know they could do that, but I saw.
I
it.
didn't either. I didn't. Maybe they're not supposed to. Maybe that's why it
I
froze up.
thought there was some sort of prerequisite to do that. I'm gonna look into that because that would be interesting. Now I use Restream
Right.
for my video, and they have all the different platforms. I got to see if Spotify is one of them that they link to. Who do you publish your podcast through? Like I use Buzzsprout.
Well, Riverside, and I think we were going through Anchor, and then Anchor through Spotify, but it was kind of direct from that. But Riverside is based. I mean, Perry's started the subscription, but it seems like we're just going from Riverside right out to Spotify and Apple, and Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, all right.
he set up the YouTube account. He doesn't have Facebook, but Mark and I do.
Yes,
but-
that's coming very soon. The
Right,
Facebook
now,
page will be up by the end of the week.
Does that have to be live? Facebook? Does it have to be live?
What
No.
I'm gonna just put the links to the YouTube on for Facebook. I mean, that's the
Okay.
beauty of YouTube. Everyone can get YouTube. Not everyone can get Spotify. So
Right.
Right.
And like what I do, I mean, see if you can link to Facebook Live, and then you guys just go live on like I do.
Yeah.
And then it stays there.
So it is a live feed that you're doing there.
Yes, I do a live feed, but you guys aren't going to do a live feed, right? You're just going to
Yeah,
record
no.
it and then put it out on Facebook.
Yeah.
All right, no editing.
I'd like to go live. I'd like to do it. I mean, I think we're going to get to the point where I think we are. But you and Jack, you tape yours, and you put it out the next day.
No, we're live right now. And
We're live
what
right
I
now.
do with the podcast is right after the show, I'll download the audio from this, and I'll go into Buzzsprout, and I'll upload it with all the information. Then I just send it out. I hit publish.
Okay.
But this video, this live stream, it's going to stay on the Facebook page. It goes into your YouTube channel and Twitter. I have a Twitter account too, so it plays on that. But what happens on the show happens on the show. Live is fun.
Yeah.
I think live keeps you on your toes too, because if you start getting an audience. And the thing about live video, live podcast, is it's not about the immediate views of the people watching. I used to get caught up in the number. I'm like, there's only 13 people watching, right? But you got to think, these people have lives. It's Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, right? And it's a scrolling society. Then I look at the end of the week. By next Wednesday, it has a couple hundred views, maybe 200, 300 views, So it's the thing about going live is it's the after views that you're really looking for. So do you guys have one particular episode that has gotten more downloads than the others? Do you look at the numbers?
Perry has the metrics. He's very secretive.
He runs a tight ship.
You know what he says? He says to us, "You will know what you have to know."
Well,
Actually,
like
they've been building, and what's neat, we've had like listeners from like New Zealand and Australia, which is the beauty of this whole thing. Whereas I think I mentioned last time, back in the day when you just had a radio, so if you bought time on your local radio station, only your local area would hear it. With this podcasting, it's worldwide. That's what's really good about it.
Yeah. Yep. And it does reach.
The UK has next to You know, in the U.S., the UK I think has the most, but Germany's got a couple. Philippines pops up. There's one United Arab Emirates. So who knows? Might
Yeah,
be a
it's
sheik.
always funny to see
be
where
some-
this. Yeah,
Saudi
where this-
Arabian prince laughing at us.
There was one.
And your sound quality sucks.
Yeah, there was one little town in France, right? And I just kept seeing this thing pop up. So I went on the I forget what the name of it was, like Cairn, France or something. I don't know. And I went on the BuzzFeed Facebook group and I was like, is anybody getting these downloads from this place? Because they seem to be. And so it came on and said, yeah, that's a server. like people, because everyone's like, yeah, it was me too, right? And it just became this whole thread on all these people jumping in saying, yeah, I got like 10. And I think someone came in and said, yeah, I think that's a server that's downloading all these things. But somebody's listening.
Someone's listening, yeah. Everyone's funny out
Somebody's
there.
listening. So the thing about music podcasts is there's no end in sight. It ends when you guys want it to end because it's endless conversation. You know, do you ever hit a wall and say, what do you want to talk? All right, out of the three of you, out of you, Perry, I'll ask Mark, out of you, Perry, and Lou, who comes up with the topics?
We all equally try to come up with a topic. Perry is usually the one that he calls us early in the week and he's got an idea and he's ready to roll with it. You know, me, I'm kind of like, just like when I did my homework, by Thursday, I'm getting my topic together because it's great when you're thinking all week, you're driving and you're thinking of stuff. You know, when you did the show, you guys did the one on the band's second albums. For years, I'm like driving thinking that would be a great discussion, but I could never think of it, you know, when we're trying to think of what we need. So yeah, it's that. And then the last few episodes, we were doing what's called Random Relish, where kind of went back to when we used to just sit around and talk. You come up with different topics and we let it flow freely. So Lou will start talking about, you know, summer songs. And then, you know, it's like, hey, you know, and I come up with a year with albums that came out. But I think, you know, I noticed Lou and Perry used to do one topic. I think I ruined that. I think we got to get back to that.
Yeah, the random thing is good. Yeah, but I do like to get a little specific sometimes. It's also, I think it's things that we have a personal, you know, the topics will come of a personal interest. I happen to be into like the producers, the mechanics of how these records are made. So that might be my suggestion. You know,
then,
but it is a mixed bag. Like Mark has things that he liked. He brought some ideas in, you know.
My thing comes from you're producing, Lou, and I'm after the fact because I was in audio mastering. Mm-hmm. So when I was actually doing audio mastering, it ruins your love of music. So when I was actually working and mastering, and you have to listen for all the distortion, the pops and the clicks, you can't enjoy music. It took me years to listen to an album and not have to worry about noise, you know. And now I can finally listen to some of these crappy sounding albums and get it. But when you're doing the job, it sucks, you know.
Right. I bet. I found that, and I call those, you call it Random Relish. I call it my mixtape. So, and it goes with the background on the YouTube channel, you know, the cassette. And I have found though that and it's just ideas during the week. I'll just think of something like you said, Mark, and I'll put it in my notes on my phone. Not while I'm driving. You don't do that.
You don't do that.
It's not good. Just remember it and put it in. Maybe if you're at a long red light.
It never comes out right.
Yeah. But I've found that I could have a lot of Random Relish, and we end up staying on one subject for like a 20, 25-minute run, you know? So I like that freestyle where it just, something really evolves. And you hit that one subject, that one topic where, say, Jack and I it just takes off on its own. Yeah. You know, you can go down rabbit holes.
Yeah.
I like those, I think, better than the specific shows. We've done a lot of specific shows, but I find this too, when you do specific shows, eventually you're gonna kind of hit a wall. Like if you're doing 100 episodes, right? That's 100 topics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, then you really have to start digging. Like, you know, let's talk about how 45s were created.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like.
You know what's hard is when
Who
it's
invented the needle?
Yes. When it's the same 2 guys or 3 guys talking, it's true. Now, if you had guests on, that's a whole different animal. Like, so you got these guys that have done 1,000 podcasts on music, but if they have a different guest every week, sky's the limit. No,
Exactly.
It's a challenge.
Good point.
But I agree with you, Scott, because like there were a couple episodes when we started and I'm like, ooh, we only have 3 topics tonight. But then I'm like, Lou will pick up on the second one, I'll pick up on it, and we start talking, and then boom, we realize we went an hour and 20 minutes. So
Yeah. Exactly. You hit that rabbit hole and you just go down. So Mark, you're the prog rock guy.
Yeah.
Right? Lou, what's your specialty?
I like history. I like the whole history of, the rock and roll, the whole thing, all this that minutia. Musical wheelhouse. I was a classic. I went full really alternative in the 80s. I love classic rock. We raised on it, but I got to the point where I thought it was being forced down my throat. So I'm like, what else is out there? And you start flipping around dials and the whole the replacement song, Left of the Dial, where all the cool stuff is.
I never liked them.
Stations.
I never liked the replays. I never got into them.
I tried to. I thought I was supposed to like them for 15 minutes. I thought the songs were good.
That's a great way to put it. I thought I was supposed to like them because people were like, the replacements.
Our friend Tom Griffin's seen them, and he's seen them when they were all drunk and shitty and stuff, and seen them when they were kind of good. They were not that great a band, but they had great songs. But the band was not. I mean, I'm talking shit, but I was never a fan of that drummer. I said, this guy, like Ginger Baker said, he couldn't swing a sack of shit. It's just stiff. But you tried that though. But I mean, I found REM that way, just going way over. And I heard Radio Free Europe before I knew what it was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's really cool. It sounded familiar, far away, and the whole thing, it just sounded alien almost.
Let me ask you. Let me interrupt you for 1 second. And you just said, do you remember those commercials for Radio Free Europe?
Yes.
It was like a black and white, and you would hear the radio, and you had Radio Free Europe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was actually a thing. A lot of people don't know that was a real thing.
Yes, it was. It was. In
the 70s, I think, the 60s and 70s, Radio Free. Yeah, Radio Free Europe was an actual station. It was an actual thing you could listen to.
Yeah, that's funny because I don't know if that was because of the Iron Curtain, the Cold War. To me, I remember asking my dad what that was, and he probably just a radio station, I don't know what they played or whether it was news or music or all that stuff. But I just thought Radio Free Europe just sounded like, something that happened during wartime. Maybe there was a post-World War II thing. But, well, that'd be pretty cool to look at. Here we go, though. Things like that, Like I said, if we plan this conversation, they may not sound like that. But that was
it just comes up naturally.
Off the cuff thing. Yeah.
So I'm actually going to go back after the show or maybe tomorrow. I'm going to try to find one of those old commercials.
Yeah.
It's got to be on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
There's got to be one on YouTube. I just remember watching it. It was kind of avant-garde. Not that I knew what that word was back then.
It's French for bullshit.
I do now, yeah. And it was black and white. I remember someone running through the streets, and there was there was young people, and just some talk, and then Radio Free Europe. And I was like, it just stuck in my craw.
Yeah. It's stuck in Michael Stipe's craw, too, because he we're all the same age. He probably saw the same commercials, and we're like,
How do you think they would do if they went back out on tour?
Their last 2 albums I thought were great.
Yeah, they were.
Right.
I thought the Accelerate and Collapse of Now were great.
Accelerate was a fantastic album.
But
it really is, yeah.
But they kind of fell not out of favor, but they fell off the map in popularity.
Yeah, in America.
Yeah.
They could probably still tour Europe. They could, like a lot of musicians, they in '97 when they put out New Adventures in Hi-Fi, which is a record. I listened back to it recently. It's a great record. I liked a lot of it when it first came out, but it was just it sounded weird to me, but it's a great record. There's some great songs on it. But that was the first record that didn't sell as well as all the others. They had that climb, that perfect career climb, where each album outsold the other. They didn't have to go, and nothing too crazy, which is why Nirvana envied them.
Yeah.
He said, they just had the perfect career, but eventually you can't stay on top forever. But what New Adventures in Hi-Fi sold was, of course it went platinum probably, but it didn't sell as much as Monster or whatever came before that. I think it was Monster before that.
Once the Frequency, Kenneth, that album.
Yeah.
And then they kind of just went into the wilderness through the 90s, which was ironic because the grunge movement, a lot of those bands, they were like very friendly with those bands, and those bands liked them, and you thought that not that they were grunge, but you thought they would have stayed popular. And and I didn't listen to them either through the whole 90s. It was Accelerate that I started listening to them again, and I was like, wow.
Well, Michael Stipe and Kurt Cobain were friends. I think one of the songs on Monster dedicated to River Phoenix, and I think Kurt Cobain, because that came out in '94, and that's when Cobain died. But also, what happened was that their drummer quit the band.
Well, he had a brain tumor, didn't he?
He had an aneurysm on stage.
An aneurysm, that's what it was. Yeah,
at the best place you could do it. They were in Luzerne, Switzerland, where that hospital. If you're gonna have an aneurysm, have it there. So as a drummer, his timing was great. But you read that story, like, oh my God, he was on
Bill
stage.
Berry, right?
Bill Berry,
yeah.
His wife apparently owns property around here somewhere.
Really?
Yeah. His ex-wife rather. But that was a tour all mixed up. Peter Buck all had major illness things. Stipe had an appendectomy. I think Mike Mills had a twisted colon. Bill Berry had an aneurysm, and Peter Buck waited a couple of years to have his alcohol and pill fueled air rage incident.
Yeah, I'm sure they raged hard in their time.
Yeah.
Now they came out of the Athens, Georgia music scene with the B-52s.
Yep. Yeah.
And wasn't there another band that came out of there that was popular out of Athens?
Love Tractor, some of the more obscure ones. Love Tractor, I think, did. I don't know. 10,000 Maniacs. No, I don't know if 10,000 Maniacs did.
I don't think they came out of Athens, but 10,000 Maniacs is interesting. They went out on tour. I don't know, it was like 10 years ago. And a friend of mine, she said, I'm going to see 10,000 Maniacs. And I said, oh, is Natalie Merchant with them? No, it's some other side. I said,
really?
Then it's not 10,000 Maniacs.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she said, oh, but the music's still good. And I'm saying, that's one of those, she's the voice of that band.
Yeah.
The whole focal point, really.
Yeah.
Did you know Max Weinberg played with them for a while?
Oh, did he?
Yeah, really? He did some touring with them in the 90s after Bruce broke up the E Street Band.
There's like 8 of them in there, isn't there? The musicians, there's a handful of them, isn't there? Or is there...
Well, the original guitar player died. Guy Rob Buck, he died. But I thought there were 4. I had a keyboard player, drums, bass, guitar, keyboards, and so I think there were 5 pieces. Basically,
5. Yeah.
Early on, I think. I was never a big fan of them too much. I
liked them. I thought they were a nice break. I mean, around the time they came out, 86, 87, 88, right? What's their first hit was The Weather, Feels Like the Weather, right?
Like the Weather.
A lot like the weather, which is still
Produced
to this
by
day. You're the producer guy.
Peter Asher.
There you go. That's look at that. See, Mark, come on. You got it. Yeah.
Oh, no, Lou knows his producers. He knows it.
Remember the band, The Producers?
Limitations.
You remember the band, The Producers?
Yeah.
What's he got that I ain't got? He's got you.
You were in that band, right?
I was Wayne. I was the keyboard player, Wayne Famous.
Okay.
I think they were a one-hit wonder. I think.
Oh, you were Seymour Butts. Huh?
Seymour.
He's a porn producer. He's not a record producer.
Yeah, my old band. I like some of their stuff, but she had that one song about. I thought it was a little preachy. What's going on?
Yeah, about the kid. Don't hit your kid. It's not.
It's my kid.
Try to tell my mother that. She'd tell Natalie Merchant, go fuck yourself. I will do what I want. I will whoop his ass because he fucking deserves it.
That's right. My old band, Edenville, we had a song I wrote. It had like a surfy thing. So I wrote lyrics for it. The title was called Shut Up, Natalie. And the lyrics were purposely so bad. So I was horrible. And I told us, I said, we can't sing this. So it became an instrumental on our CD that we put out. But everyone's like, what does Shut Up, Natalie mean? I'm like, no, you being petty. But when I heard Tiger Lily, I was in a Macy's. I heard her voice. I said, that's Natalie Merchant. And I heard the song, I liked it, and I saw her in the video. I'm like, I like her.
Yeah.
I got this. I developed a crush on her from the video.
A friend of mine's wife looks.
I went from hate to love.
Yeah, there was something attractive about her.
Yeah.
A friend of mine's wife looked just like her, like the same skin, the same features, same hair. She wasn't as thick as Natalie. Natalie was a little thick. Mm-hmm. She was a little thick in the his. Nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
It all worked. It all worked. It all comes together like a good album.
That's
she
right.
comes together like a good album.
And she is a good singer. She has a very unique voice.
Great singer.
Very recognizable.
Yeah.
She put out a solo album. I think it was called Motherland. And from a sounds perspective, that was a really, really one of my favorite albums. Came out in the 90s. Excellent album. Still puts out quality material.
Now, she has a very unique voice, but I don't think, and maybe you can argue with me on this, I think the female singer with the most unique voice I've ever heard, and it's pretty hard to beat her, I think, Alison Moyet. Did you ever hear her?
Good point. Oh, yeah.
She's the lead. She sang with Yaz. What is it? I forget their hit song.
Well, her solo hit.
Move out.
Was that 80s? Was that 80s or earlier?
That was 80s.
Huh.
Yeah, Alison Moyet. And then she went solo, and she had a small hit with Invincible.
Yes, yes.
But her voice is just absolutely belting loud. So, what's his name that left Depeche Mode? He left Depeche Mode. He was the fourth member.
What did he play?
I think he was one of the keyboard players, I think. Okay. He started Yaz, and then he started another band. Shit. Now, right when I want to talk about it, I'm drawing the blank on it. What was his name? Andy? Let me see. Now I'm going to look it up. Fuck it.
I'm helping you.
Yeah, let me see. Yaz band. Here we go. So,
Naz.
Let's see.
Fletcher.
It was originally called Yazoo, right? Vince Clarke. Vince Clarke left Depeche Mode and started Yazoo. They called it Yaz in the United States with Alison Moyet. Then, interestingly enough, they break up and he starts Erasure.
Okay.
With Andy Bell.
I didn't know that.
Sounds just like Alison Moyet. Fucking sounds. Yeah.
For a reason.
So listen to Erasure and listen to Yaz. And Vince Clarke knew a good sound when he heard it. And
Scott, I didn't know that link between those three bands.
Yeah,
wow. Yeah.
Wow. You mean
what
I taught you guys something? Holy shit, I'm on my game.
Scott, I was thinking the Navs when you said the Yaz. I'm like, and the name Allison I've heard about. I wouldn't know her.
Go listen to her.
I will.
Yeah. Unbelievable voice.
Now, Depeche Mode, Erasure. What is the name of that genre? Because I was not a big on.
You could say synth
super
pop.
Keyboard,
You could say synth pop or dance music, club music, dance music.
Yeah, I was always kind of dancey, but I like some of it. But that's not a big, thing of mine. It's not that I don't like it. I just don't know a lot about the band.
I love that music.
I just learned some.
Like you had the Bronski beat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
With Jimmy Somerville, who I think, again, if you want to talk about unique voices, Jimmy Somerville's voice is just how he hits that falsetto, like. Just keeps it up there.
Yeah.
And then he left Bronski Beat and started the Communards. And they had a couple of hits. But I love that music. I love all that kind of music. If you've watched the show or listened to the show enough, I love synth.
Mm-hmm.
I do too. And I'm a guitar player, but I get more out of hearing a good keyboard album. I love Depeche Mode because being a prog guy, those 80s bands, Depeche Mode, even Howard Jones, they had that analog synth sound, which was so good.
Yes.
And Depeche Mode I love them. Yeah, they're really, they're darker than the others, and that's what I like about them.
Mark, when you and Perry come visit, we're going to go to the Moog Museum.
Oh, absolutely.
because Bob Moog lived here. So there's a Moog museum. There's a
shit, really?
Yeah. There's an outlet, but he's got in downtown. He's got a little museum, but they do tours and stuff like that. And he's got all the old.
Does he have any of Keith Emerson's stuff there?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'll be like
Probably
grabbing
not.
onto it. Get away! Get away!
Yeah, I love that music. For some reason, I love synth music.
And you
synth
like Pet
pop.
Shop Boys, and they're good too.
I'll tell you what, man. I have not been ashamed to say this, and I love the idiots that overlook them because of their name, because of their style of music. But I'm telling you, man, the Pet Shop Boys are fucking talented.
Yeah.
And they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Are they still around?
Oh yeah. They're actually touring right now with with New Order. With New Order.
New Order. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, they had done that I think before COVID, I want to say, and they were coming to the Fillmore in Miami, which is where I saw the Pet Shop Boys on their own. And I got a quick story about them. But they wanted fucking $300 or something like that, $350, $400 a ticket. I'm like, yo, yeah. I like New Order. I like the Pet Shop Boys, but I don't fucking like them that much.
No. I wonder how they did.
Can we comment on a comment here?
Yeah.
Richie Rock.
Richie Rock.
I heard that song he was talking about the other day at work. I have the looks, you got the brains. Let's make
lots of money. Yeah.
We were looking for an alternate playlist at work the other day. I heard that. I'm like, I hadn't heard that in a long, long time. And can I make an apology to Dave Phillips?
You can. The floor is yours, Lou.
About the Jay Giles comment. That was Dave, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so Dave. I apologize sincerely. I was in my car the other day listening, and this wacky song came on. Like, it almost Zappa. I'm like, who the hell is this? I couldn't recognize the singer, the band. It was like a spoken word thing. It was the Jay Giles band with a song called "No Anchovies, Please." From the Last Thanks record.
No anchovies, please.
What the hell? I was completely floored. So I'm a fan now.
There you go. Dave is a big advocate of them.
I was like, I couldn't tell the music behind us. There was like a spoken word. It was like a weird story about some guy's wife being abducted and wrapped in cellophane, all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, I haven't heard that in a long time. But I'll tell you what. If you want to hear a great Pet Shop Boys album, go listen to Behavior. That is, from start to finish, what I refer to as a perfect album. Every song on there, solid. That's that rare album that you can listen from start to finish and not hit, well, to me at least, right. But so they played, I saw them at the Fillmore in Miami by themselves. And this is they're a duo, so I'll call them a band. It's the kind of band they are. It's the kind of guys they are. So there was a traffic jam, go figure, going into Miami. And the show was supposed to start, I think, at 9 o'clock or something, 8:30. And traffic, and I guess somebody had let the theater know, look, there's a big fucking traffic jam out there. And the band was probably notified. And he came out and he said, the lead singer came out and he said, we're going to wait a little longer for the people that are stuck in traffic because we want everybody to see the show. If you don't mind, dude, like, how could you how could you deny that? Like, they were that curt, not like, fuck it, let's just go on.
Yeah.
We want everybody to see the show. We want everybody that paid their money to get, so we're just going to wait if that's okay. And everybody fucking went nuts. And that's a very respectful thing to do for your audience.
Especially nowadays with the price of tickets.
Yeah.
Right, really.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was like I think we waited another 20 minutes. But, I think bands get a slight surge from that. You know, like, when they come out, there's just a little extra energy in the room. I think just because everyone's been waiting and they didn't get booed. You know, people were like, Pet Shop Boys.
Yeah, the
Pet
crowd
Shop
didn't
Boys.
revolt or anything, right?
Which I don't think that's the type of audience that would do that. Pet Shop Boys. Pet Shop Boys. That just doesn't sound right, I don't think. Just doesn't come across
Right.
like, you know.
Synth dance people don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Unless it's
chilled out than
Pet
that.
Shop Boys. Pet Shop Boys.
PSB.
Yeah, very nice. They do it nicely. I don't think devil horns go up at a Pet Shop Boys concert.
So you have a very wide musical palette.
Oh yeah, I try. I love just spreading it out.
Yeah.
Do you think, getting back to REM, how much effect do you think the birth of hip hop had in the 90s to them losing, like, just kind of all of a sudden and I don't put them alone in that category, right? The birth of hip hop really is in the 80s. It started to explode in the early 90s, and then it just became, you know, NWA broke the glass ceiling.
Yeah.
And it hasn't stopped since. And I'm a big fan. I've been a big fan since, you know, back in the day.
It was a big sea change, you know.
When Malcolm McLaren tried his hand at rap with the Buffalo Girls, although with the world famous Supreme Team, like they had these DJs, and that album is very and a very eclectic album, but it was a huge hit. Like Malcolm McLaren, the fucking guy that fucked up Adam and the Ants and fucked up the Sex Pistols and fucked up everything he touched. Fuck Malcolm McLaren, by the way. Fuck that guy.
Do you think the audiences were the same?
Well, you had people like me
rocking.
that jumped, you know, started listening more because now hip hop was becoming broader. You know, and so we all go through that phase probably when we're younger where you hit that, you just stay in that one genre, right? Like you listen to stuff on the outside, but you're more focused on that genre, because that's when, to me, like Public Enemy was blowing up, LL Cool J was blowing up, Eric B and Rakim were blowing up. You know, you go down the line, and so REM kind of took a slight back seat to them. So I can't think that I was alone, and I don't know if that would be the cause of them losing an audience or a chunk where their album sales just kind of faded off.
Yeah, that was a big sea change in the 90s. Everything changed. And me, actually, in the 80s, I was a metal guy. So when I heard Public Enemy and NWA, it gave me the feeling of when I first heard metal.
Yeah.
It was raw. It was energy, and I loved it. And then I still say Mama Said Knock You Out is one of the heaviest songs out there.
That's a great song.
I love that quote.
Song.
I mean, is there a better opening line? I'm sure there is, but don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years.
Yeah.
I mean, to start the song off like that, and LL Cool J was a notorious rap battler, and nobody, like, he was undefeated.
Yeah.
In that rap battle. You know, him and Cool Mo D from the Furious Five, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, they had a thing for a little while, and, like, you just couldn't keep up with LL Cool J. Right. He was just that good at it.
Yeah.
You know, the diss tracks, they called them.
Yeah, and he never cursed. No F-bombs on his albums. That was a funny thing about him, yeah?
He made a mistake, though, in his later on, like a little further into his career, when gangster rap, you know, which is what NWA, you know, came out with that. Then everybody, of course, starts to follow. And he tried to go that route, and it didn't really work. No, it just didn't look right.
Like when your name is Ladies Love Cool J, you don't go gangster.
You don't try, you know, to go all, he tried. But I think music's like that, right, Lou? I mean, people stop mimicking the thing that's hot.
Yeah.
Which is why it eventually fades away, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think in some things that are going on now, I don't know who the bands are, but I'm hearing a certain more of a similarity between, like, even the backing tracks where, you know, my son's listening to things like Kanye now. He's checking more hip hop out. But I was saying, like, you know, the backing tracks, I can't tell a lot of stuff apart. And I think it's more a newer type of hip hop with that kind of weird hi-hat thing. It's almost like a same track. You know, REM did a song with KRS-One on Out of Time, radio song. But that was 91.
He had a little chunk in there.
Yeah, a little rapping, little pulling forth. But maybe maybe that did have an impact on the record buying as far as the rock thing goes. Because rock's had this up and down thing a bit as far as grunge replaced hair metal. The hair bands, they took grunge into their careers. So maybe rap and hip hop kind of took a chunk of rock away or whatever, or just increased its own big audience. Maybe it didn't take much from anybody, but I think every band's going to have a crest.
Yeah.
A peak and a crest.
Yeah, even the Rolling Stones had one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now the thing is, that was like, it's been saying, is the guitar dead, or are rock bands on the out as far as modern rock now, or modern?
They don't get the push they used to get. Like, I just think there's too much out there where you can't focus on one band. Now, there's a lot of good bands out there, but they're not getting that push. They're not getting that. Okay, once MTV failed to be MTV and it became basically reality TV, right? Why they don't just change it to RTV is beyond me. But I think bands lost a lot of that push. I think, again, if MTV didn't exist, the Go-Go's wouldn't have gone fucking anywhere. I don't care what the fuck Jack says. He can defend him to the top of the mountain.
There's a lot of bands.
MTV, Tony Basil, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Did you know? No, evidently not, Lou.
No, there's
evidently
more?
not, my friend.
There's more?
She has a fucking greatest hits album. Tony fucking Basil.
You could have an album with one song on it.
She has literally look it up. Tony Basil's greatest hits. Yeah, it's
the songs Mickey, Dickie, Ricky, Vicky.
I think they're just one song. They're all remixes.
Yeah. There's a different name.
Same song.
I remember that video. I remember the video where they did the Jay Giles band Human Pyramid. She was on that.
Yeah. But I think bands lost a lot of that push, that publicity that they got from a constant, and radio started to change, right? Country came in the 90s. Country, it's not country. It's fucking pop. It's pop music.
It's pop with twangy Telecasters.
Yeah, it's a twangy
You know where that
pop.
started? That started. You remember that song "I Swear," and it came out as an R&B single, and then they had a country version.
Yeah, that's a good call.
So that's when I think the record label said, "Hey, this is great. We can cross-pollinate R&B and country." And then it ruined country. I can't even relate to any country that's come out since the early 90s.
No.
And it's all, again, it's like you said, Scott, it's the music business. Whatever they want to be successful will be successful. Rock music is still filling arenas, but it's not in the media like it used to be.
Exactly.
Country's got all these different. It's got subgenres. There's a barefoot radio station. It's like country beach. It's almost like country-ish, like Kenny Chesney.
Yeah.
But it's almost has a tropical, almost like Jimmy Buffett meets Alan Jackson or whoever these people are, and I'm not a fan of it in any way.
But there's a generation now, maybe going on a second generation, that didn't grow up like we did with Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings. Now, I never used to like it when I was a kid, right? Nope. But back then, and I've said this a number of times on this podcast, that's when it was called country western.
Yeah.
I have albums. I actually have, out of the whole, 1,000 albums, I have some country western albums.
And, Ray Charles had that album. He did something in country western.
Yeah.
It was actually in the title of his album. Remember old jukeboxes?
Yeah.
If you sat in the diner booth, it would give the type of genre. It was C&W. So country western.
Yep. And then they just decided to, I don't know why they rebranded. They got rid of the western thing. And then when it went pop, it's just pop music. It's just a different sounding pop music now. They wear cowboy hats and I'm sure there's some hardcore country guys that are out there.
There's a singer called Jamie Johnson. If you ever can check him out, he's a throwback. He's great. And he sells. He's really good. It sounds like Merle Haggard. Excellent musicianship on his albums. And he looks the part. He's got this big old beard and everything, but he writes quality songs. So they're out there, but they're not being pushed. Jamie Johnson.
I'll check him out. Richie Rock just commented in, you also forgot Snoop D-O-double-G. Motherfucker was good. I don't think he's dead. I think he's still good.
I saw him on a TV commercial the other day.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, listen, talk about rebranding yourself. These guys, listen, these guys were these guys were from the street. Ice Cube, Ice-T, Snoop Dogg. You can go down the line, right? These guys were from the streets. They weren't stupid.
No.
You know, people underestimated them. Now look at how much these motherfuckers are worth.
Ice Cube is a real success story. What that guy has done.
Absolutely. And I'll say it again, the best fucking comedy trilogy ever.
Absolutely.
Next Friday, and the Friday after next.
Yep.
The best comedy trilogy ever.
Absolutely.
Ever. That shit, even the last one, which the Christmas part, and just that shit was great.
And somehow he made it to Disney. How the hell Ice Cube made it to Disney? But he did Disney.
Well, there was some kickback for that. There was a lot of kickback, but they ignored it, which was the right thing to do because, maybe that was if it was today in today's cancel culture bullshit, he probably wouldn't have been able to make those movies.
Right.
You know, I guess his son's an actor too. I guess now.
Is he surviving the game?
Surviving the game.
Ice-T, F. Murray Abraham. What else? A bunch of rich white guys. They have a hunting club, and they befriend this young African American man. They decide to hunt him down.
I did see that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. It's a good movie. Of course, it doesn't go right for them. Who's the actor who's in Platoon? John C. McGinley. Do you know who he is? In Platoon, he was Tom Berenger's right hand man. He played a weasel. In Platoon.
Oh, he was also
he was O'Neill in
Scrubs.
Platoon. He was in Scrubs.
The doctor in Scrubs. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
He plays an asthmatic guy that it just doesn't go right for him. In The Hunt, he ends up having an asthma attack on the side of a cliff. Yeah. I had one yesterday, actually.
What an asthma attack on the side of a cliff?
No, I had an asthma event yesterday. I left work early. My doctor said, "Lou, you should be in the hospital." I said, "I'm going to be on the milk crates and turntables."
There we go.
I'm not going anywhere.
All right, enough of that.
That's an oxygen tank behind Lou.
It wasn't a big one on the Richter scale,
Very good. Give me. I'll start with you, Lou. Give me an overrated / overplayed song.
I wish I had more time to prepare. I got this text from Mark as I was coming home. An overrated song.
Mark got it. All right, Mark's gonna steal the show now.
He might. Something overrated. You mentioned Imagine recently.
But you can have it.
Maybe Mark. Maybe Mark. I'm going to toss the ball to Mark. I have to think a minute.
All right, let me toss it to Mark.
I have to defer.
Oh, there's a ton. Basically, the joke is anyone in any city could just listen to what their classic rock radio station plays. They're all overrated, right? Bad to the Bone. I am so sick of that goddamn song. It's used in kids' movies. It was used in Terminator. And I didn't like it when I was 13. Ugh.
Good call. Good call. I could see that. I mean, I think I still like it. It hasn't run its course with me yet, but that's your list, buddy. Your list. I'm gonna go with, and I fucking turn this off the minute I hear it. I mean, the first fucking chord, I know it. Fucking Bohemian Rhapsody / We Will Rock You. That's
a good point.
I can't hit the fucking channel changer fast enough. And
it's
right at my thumb on my steering wheel.
We Are the Champions. We Will Rock You, right?
Yeah. We will, whatever the fuck it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah. All of those, both of them. Because they're two different songs, right?
Yeah.
One of them's We Are the Champions. Another one. Fucking sick of that. So I'll put them together. That's why I merged them together. They're both equal in my head.
And maybe if they weren't played every 5 minutes on freaking radio, you wouldn't hate them so much.
I got one.
All right.
It's just been done to death, and every time I hear it on the local station, it's ZZ Top's "Sharp Dressed Man." It's just, it's not bad, but I mean, it's one of 5 songs on rotation. And I think of that drummer you see in the YouTube videos, the world's greatest drummer, the showy guy. Have you ever seen this dude?
No.
He's a guy in a wedding band. I don't know his name. Look up world's greatest drummer, or this drummer's in the wrong band. This guy, the way he moves his body, twirling drumsticks, but they do it to Sharp.
I did see that guy. Yeah.
He's quite stylish, but I just think, I don't know if it's overrated or not, but it's just been done to death.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't really listen to that song anymore. Yeah.
It's not bad. I mean, it's not a bad era of ZZ Top. There's
No,
good
but
stuff on it.
we heard it way too much.
Yeah. Well, it's also
In
that
the 80s.
it also speaks about the death of album-oriented rock radio. You know, unless you got XM radio, but commercial mainstream radio, you will not hear album cuts. You can hear that.
All right, Mark, give me another one.
Okay, I'm going to say a song that I changed, and I recently heard that the lyrics, what they mean, kind of changed. Makes me feeling guilty for saying this, but when "Hey Jude" comes on the radio, split, I'm off because I'm waiting for that extra long na na na. And I watch Premier League soccer, and every team I hate uses that at the end of their matches. So it's like, but yep, too long. But I do hear it was written. Paul McCartney wrote it for Julian
Lennon, yeah.
And when I heard the whole story, I'm like, it is a beautiful song, but still can't take it.
Yeah, I just heard it way too much. What album is that on?
I think it was a single, right, Lou?
It was
Hey Jude, no, that was 68, but that was a single. I don't know if they put it on I don't know if it's on the Let It Be album or not, but
no,
they put it on an album?
It's on this album where the four of them are standing up against a wooden door.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it's and I forget. I might be a greatest hits type thing, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. A compilation album.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was originally a single, but they put it on that album because I played that fucking total everyday rotation when I was a kid. I love that album, both sides, and it's like I don't know the name of the album. Like I ask people, and they're like, I don't know the name of that album.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's more latter day cuts. It doesn't go back too far. Like
no, exactly. It's all all like you said.
Got like old brown shoe on it, maybe.
Is that doesn't? It's not called Yesterday and Today, is it?
No,
I'm not.
Okay.
That was an actual. That was an album.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with anything by fucking Green Day.
Yeah, I know you're feeling on Green
Day. Even after this piece of shit, Billy Joe, whatever his name is, came running this fucking yap the other day, but I hated them before that. They are an overrated band. Jack is like, you can't say that. Why are you? Maybe because you don't like them. Nah, they're just fucking overrated and overplayed. That's it.
Well, my problem with them is I don't think they insisted, but people call them punk. That's not punk. They're a heavy pop band.
You know why? Because he spiked his hair and he turned it blue and green and it's power pop. And again, I liked them the first time when they were the Ramones, and I don't even like the Ramones.
Wasn't American Idiot like a concept album? And punk
they made a play.
Did punk bands do concept albums though?
And then they did a Broadway fucking play.
Yeah, that's right. They
American
went Broadway.
Idiot.
Are they in Vegas?
Yeah, talk about selling out.
I saw their set at Woodstock in Saugerties '94. That's when they were throwing the mud at the stage.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm getting out of here. I never saw so much mud in my life.
Yeah.
And it hurt me that the instruments were getting all muddy and everything. I'm like, no, don't get the guitars dirty.
All right, look, give me an overplayed.
I got one.
What?
Maggie May.
Really?
Yeah.
I just heard it today.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I like the little mandolin thing at the beginning, and then
if I never hear it again, it's to me that's been done to death.
Hey, Lou, could we do the theme to the Relish podcast to Maggie May for the next episode?
Sure.
I happen to love that song.
But it's his list, Mark.
On the arm, yeah. When I hear that, I'm like, not too direct. I'm just like, no. On contrast to some songs I can hear over and over again, like "Light My Fire," even the AM single version, I can hear that all day, every day. But it's about Maggie May, I don't know.
It's all personal. Yeah.
I'm not a big Rod Stewart guy, but the Faces, he was good. Rolling Stone magazine, the Rolling Stone Encyclopedia of Rock and Roll said, no artist has ever betrayed his talent so greatly than Rod Stewart.
Whoa.
He was an interpreter. He
Do
sang
you
other
think I'm
people's songs.
sexy and you want my body?
Well, that was the disco era. They all did that. The
Stones
came out with "Miss You," and
that's a lot better than "Do You Think I'm Sexy?"
I kind of like that song.
So
I don't know if it just brings back a good memory of that time in my life.
Okay,
and I actually don't hear it that much. Actually,
no. If you ever seen the movie "So I Married an Axe Murderer,"
I Married an Axe Murderer.
Yeah, with Mike Myers.
Yeah,
Where he plays his father.
Yeah.
If you like my body and you think I'm sexy. Hey, Lou, by the way, you know who co-wrote that song? A drummer. A drummer.
Carmen Appice?
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Good.
From
Good
Vanilla
for him.
Fudge to Do You Think I'm Sexy?
Wow.
Look,
All
yeah.
right.
That's why I love having you motherfuckers on.
I think Carmen Appice.
Pull out that shit. I love that.
Buddy Rich hated rock and roll, but he thought Carmen Appice was a good drummer. He gave him props.
He's great.
Which
Is
coming
not
from Buddy
was.
Rich. No.
Yeah.
I think drummers, though, as a collective, they have a respect for each other in the sense of they know where they stand in the band.
Yeah, we get to look at everyone's asses when we don't want it.
yeah, and they know the effort that has to go into it that no one fucking pays attention to, unless you're like one of the top 5 drummers in the world.
We share. We share. I know as guitar players, I did some shows with a lot of metal bands in particular. They were very, with each other. How do you do that lick? A lot of guitar players have been playing with their back to the audience. And drummers, because it's a working man's job, kind of. You got to keep everyone together. You can't be too much of a prima donna, really. I mean, but you've got to keep all those elements together. So it's kind of selfless in a way, which is one reason I think a lot of drummers make good producers, because your ears are very open to what everyone else is doing, because it has to be.
All right, big question. Question. Who, in your opinion, Lou, and then I'll ask you, Mark, is the greatest drummer of all time?
Of all genre, or just one particular, or of all time?
Of all time.
Okay. Who's first?
You.
Me.
Lou. Yeah.
I'm gonna say overall, because he could do it all, I'm gonna say Ginger Baker.
I agree. 100%.
And we have the same birthday.
All right, Mark, he's pondering. Do you have to take a sip of your fine vintage wine, Mark?
2021 Yellowtail.
The Yellowtail's aging as he's holding
Yellowtail, right?
You have no idea. You have no idea what that does to me, Mark. He comes to visit. I have a world of fine wine at my disposal.
I'm bringing a case of Yellowtail with me when I come down.
You're not getting in the door, pal. You drink it on the front porch.
It could be worse.
Bears and all the other wildlife.
It's like I'm going between my opinion and who is. And Lou knows who I'm probably going to say, and it seems like such a common answer from so many of fans of this band, but I'm really leaning towards saying Neil Peart, because he can play jazz. He did a tribute album to who was it, Lou? His favorite drummer. Not Louis Bellson.
Gene Krupa.
Gene Krupa. This guy can play jazz, but he was in one of the best prog bands in the world, and he
learned to play jazz though.
Yeah,
Ginger Baker was jazz.
Was jazz, yeah.
And when Rush play live, when we see him, that's the only band that nobody left during the drum solo. There's a reason for that, His drum solos were.
Jack says when a drum solo starts, he's gonna go get a beer. He hates drum solos.
Well, most of the point,
I'm not a big fan either.
I
don't like playing them.
Yeah, Ian Pace from Deep Purple, great drummer, great drummer. But his drum solo, it's just paradiddles up and down, or they do the boom, 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 boom. Yeah. But Neil Peart's drum solo was based on supposedly the history of music in the world, and it was just fast. I'm going to go with that, but again,
he
it's all
was technically
subjective.
sound, even playing prog rock and rock and roll. He was just, the guy was just technically sound is the only way to put it.
And a heavy hitter. I'm all his life a heavy hitter. You can see like one of the worst Rush shows I ever went to. I got tickets and tickets sucked. But it turned out to be great because we were almost behind the stage. So I got to sit behind Neil, basically, not that far away, and just watch what he did. It was almost like a tutorial.
Wow.
But I noticed I saw a solo of his recently, and he was doing a lot of stuff on the snare, and I'm thinking, it was amazing. I said, but I've heard other drummers do something similar to that, maybe even better. But what he did, the sonic quality of his drum kit, the melodic, the way he had the drums tuned, no one sounded like that, and he had great technique.
Yeah.
But definitely like the way that kit sounded, you know that drum set anywhere.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the video for where they just focus? There's a camera on the drummer from Tool.
No, I would love to see that.
Oh,
I love
yeah, he's
Tool.
got a Celtics jersey on, and it's just, I forget the name of the song, but find it on YouTube. It is so worth watching. Like, because Tool is a very unique sounding band. Like, they are very intricate in their sound, and the drumming
Precise.
is very intricate, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That double bass drum, how they make that sound so it's even. I mean, to do it that, I can't do it. I mean, to do it that fast like that, I don't play double, but when I have it, it's weird because one of your legs is weaker than the other. It's just a weird thing. But
What makes them so good is the textures. They would do that. The guy would do a double bassing, but they'd be going low and and then they bring it up, and then they get really loud. Then they go down, but he's still doing the double bass, and it's amazing.
Yeah, but check out that video. Yeah, the drummer from Tool, and the whole song. They just have a camera on him, and it's fucking amazing. And it's like effortless. You know what I mean? It's like they've been doing it for so long and the whole thing. But where do you put Stuart Copeland in the great drums? Is he in the top 10, top 15, top 20?
Yeah, I think so.
Has to be, right?
Yeah, I think so. On originality alone, I mean, no one else sounded like him, and still, but technique,
that offbeat technique. If you listen to a Police song, and a lot of people don't get it, they really don't hear it until you pay attention to it. His beats are off, but
the highest stuff. Yeah, it's real. It's a lot of it's like the reggae influence.
Yes.
But his syncopation is just unusual. Even I heard Invisible Sun recently. Sounds simple, but it's kind of not.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just really cool. But his sound alone, I mean, the first albums, first two records, very simple, fat rock kit. Once they got more successful, whatever, his sound changed. The snare drum got a lot tighter. His different drums that he used, it sounded like he was using a studio kit on the first record. Like that was the kit that was there. Yeah. Everything else sounds like him. But the Synchronicity 2 record, the song itself, the Synchronicity 2, Another Suburban Family Morning.
Yeah.
The drums are incredible, amazing. But he's up there as a composer. And,
has to be.
Yeah, I think so. I think Neil Peart was a big fan of him.
Yeah, I think living drummers, he is the closest, and this is just my opinion, I could be wrong. I think he's the closest to Ginger Baker than any living drummer right now that's on the map, I should say. I'm sure there's some fucking guy out there playing in a band with a band in fucking Wyoming who's phenomenal drummer, Yeah. And he's stuck playing in a band in Wyoming.
Yeah.
A million undiscovered Beatles,
Did you Did either of you two happen to see that documentary on Ginger Baker? I believe it's on Netflix.
Oh, Beware Mr. Baker. Oh my God!
He breaks the nose of the guy that's doing the documentary.
Fucking hits him with a cane right in the face.
Like a lovely man,
Then the next scene, he's talking about Eric Clapton. He's crying. I love him.
Yeah.
I love him. What an amazing documentary.
If you ever watch a music doc, a rock doc, Beware Mr. Baker is a fucking phenomenal documentary.
Yeah.
How this guy stuck with him and just didn't say, fuck you. I'm fucking out of here. Fuck you. You're not worth it. Fuck you. I'm leaving Africa.
He made his face bleed.
I mean, a broken nose hurts.
I know. And then he's in the house. He's like smoking around his grandchildren in the house.
Yeah, he just fucking didn't care. His son, he has a relationship, relationship with his son, and the whole thing. And I'll tell you what, man, that is a great documentary. Absolutely.
Yeah, one of the best.
If you listen to he had some friendships, but his thing was his father was like a monster. He was an abused kid, so he built that shell around himself. But,
and you're right. He was very selective about who he was friends with. He didn't like a lot of people.
No, I mean, hear him talk about, we talk about other drummers. I mean, the best thing he said about Bonham, he goes, he's got great technique, but that was it.
That was it.
Yeah. Moon, same thing. I forgot what exactly Perry sent me a clip he said about Moon, but what the hell are you doing all over the place,
Yeah.
But he was, I always said if I could play like Ginger Baker and have Hal Blaine's career, that's heaven on earth.
Oh, we're on the Hal Blaine kick here.
Always.
Let's go. This could take 2 hours.
Well,
go for it.
You're going to tell me who Hal Blaine is.
Hal Blaine. Have you heard the Wrecking Crew, the LA session guys? They played.
Oh, yeah.
Hal Blaine was the main drummer. There were a couple others that were just as well. Earl Palmer was considered part of the Wrecking Crew, but he was before that. He's one of the originators of rock and roll drumming. But Hal Blaine, he's played on more number one hits to this day than anyone still has not been matched. But songs like he was on the number one single of the year for like 7 years in a row. It's insane. I'm moving from like was it the Fifth Dimension, the Aquarius, Let the Sunshine In, everything.
Yeah.
But like, was it Wichita Lineman? He's on every single hit version. So he did with Glenn Campbell, and they all hired him to do it. But unparalleled.
I fucking love that song.
Yeah.
too.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Glenn Campbell version. There's no Johnny Cash does a really good version, but
Really? Wow.
he really does a good version of it. But
Yeah.
the Glenn Campbell version, there's nothing like that. There's nothing fucking like that song.
Right behind it, Dwight Yoakam's version. Dwight Yoakam did an excellent version.
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
Wow.
If you're gonna do that song, you better do it fucking good.
Do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you got a big shoes to fill with that.
We talked about that era too. That was like Jimmy Webb, those type of songs. That type of mid to late '60s, the Sunshine Pop era and all those things. But Jimmy Webb wrote, Wichita Lineman, all the Glenn Campbell hits was written by him. Up and Away, Jimmy Webb. These guys were song crafters.
Yeah. So you just mentioned the Wrecking Crew, right? Who is and I watched this documentary about the Motown group that did all
the Funk Brothers.
The Funk Brothers, yeah. There's a great documentary on them.
Oh my God, yeah.
Great documentary.
Incredible.
It's called Under the Bridge or something like that. I forget if that's his. It's
Standing in the Shadows of Motown.
There you go. Standing in the shadow. Great. And I'm a big rock doc guy. I love documentaries in general, but you find a good rock documentary. It's just, I guess that's our niche, right?
I agree. And even rock books. I have a library of books. I read books about bands I don't know, I don't like, but you'll have an appreciation for them.
Yeah. All right, give me an example. What book of a band that you don't like, but you read their book? Off.
All right. So before I became a Grateful Dead fan, hated them until I was 30, liked a couple studio songs. Then someone told me, you got to listen to them as a jazz band, not a rock band. But I read the book, Long Strange Trip. And when you read about the relationship between Mickey and Bill as the drummers, and Jerry being the leader, not being the leader, and Bob Weir, who was never given any credit for being a major guy in the band, that band fascinated me. Because in every way, they shouldn't have made it. They were not powerful live when they first started. Somehow they made it through. And once I started, that book made me listen to him. And then I listened to him as, again, a jazz band. Because when I was young, I had some compilation album that was Grateful Dead playing Johnny Be Good. And I'm like, this sucks. They're doing it at half speed. They shouldn't do a song anyway, But then, again, it's like a jazz band. If Pat Metheny were to play some pop standards, he's not going to do it like a rock band.
Yeah.
So it made me I think the biggest reason I didn't like the Dead was Deadheads. I'm not going to be a Deadhead. I was looking at the visuals, and I used to get people telling me all the time, no, man, just listen to him. I get it. I'm on the bus. I got it.
So you went into that book not liking them, but you still picked up the book and read it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of people won't do that. They'll be like, nah, I'm done with that.
I think their story is more interesting than the music. It's just, it does not, like I said, some of that seminal recorded work, Working Man's Dead. Yeah, there's some really good songs, but I would much rather, I've seen the other one, the Bob Weir thing. I find the stories about them are more interesting to me than the music itself. And the live stuff, I am sorry, my friend.
Yeah.
Well, I like what Perry said the other day on one of our episodes. Perry goes, okay, so this morning at 10 o'clock, I get in my car to drive to Home Depot. I got stuck in traffic for a half hour. This fucking song was still on. I go into Home Depot, one register open, takes me 45 minutes to pay. I come out, the same fucking song is on.
Come down, Uncle John's banner.
But Bob Weir finally got his due.
Absolutely.
That band.
And I'm seeing Dead and Company next week.
He carried the torch after Jerry Garcia died, right?
Yeah, he did. And I'm going to see Dead and Company next week
Right.
just to see him with John Mayer. He's really fit that band pretty good. So
you're almost a Deadhead then, right?
But I'm going to go in my Liverpool. I'm going to wear my Liverpool jersey.
Friggin' hippie.
Your Liverpool soccer jersey, right?
Yeah, I do.
So you're going as a soccer hooligan with the hippies.
Oh, let's get some Deadheads.
I'm living in a big Deadhead area.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. I'm going to start wrapping this up, but of course the wrap up takes 15 minutes because. So let's just start getting into this. Top 10 this week in 1986. Can either one of you give me a song off the list, off this top 10 in 1986?
This is rock, we're Circuit Rock 1986.
Can I? Invisible Touch?
Let's see.
Wow, really?
Fucking bingo.
You know
Look
why?
at you.
I was a junior.
Now, Lou, that's number 8. That's number 8. If you can come up with one.
Jacob's Ladder, Huey Lewis in the News. I don't know.
Somebody, you know what? Dave Phillips has put that on. He has his little Facebook page, Tony's Tunes, and he puts out, he plays a video, puts a video on it. And Jacob's Ladder, I'm telling you, that's fucking Huey Lewis in the News' best song.
Yeah, that's a good song.
That is a great song.
That's a good song. But it wasn't 86, was it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. So I'll give you one more shot. 86 this week. I think Mark just took a shot at a popular song in 86.
Nah, I was a junior in high school that year. I know that year.
There you go, buddy. Oh.
I have another one that I think might be it. Maybe Lou, I'll text you.
No, do it.
Come on.
No, come on, Lou. You got one?
I can't think. I'm
stumped.
86.
All right, Mark. Let's see if you can pull out another one.
All right. So if I remember right, it was the first year I heard Toto, and they had "I'll Be Over You." Was that a top 10 hit though?
Is that your answer?
Yeah. It was a top 10 hit to me.
Okay.
I had to keep it in the. I couldn't let my metalheads friends know I liked that song.
Okay. Here we go. Number 10, Sledgehammer, Peter Gabriel.
God.
Right.
That came out in 86.
Yeah. Number 9, Nasty by Janet Jackson.
Good song.
Number 8, Invisible Touch, Genesis. Number 7 this week in 1986, A Different Corner by George Michael. I don't remember that song.
Me neither.
Number 6, Who's Johnny by El DeBarge. All right. Number 5.
Who is Johnny?
Who's Johnny?
What song is that?
Johnny. I remember hearing that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Number 5. He was mentioned earlier in the show. No One Is to Blame by
Howard Jones.
There you go.
Good album.
Yeah.
Thomas Dolby.
No. If you had a chance to see a concert, Howard Jones or Thomas Dolby, who would you go see?
Howard Jones.
Oh, I'd see Howard Jones.
No, I was going to ask you a second, Mark.
That's a tough call. I'll look at that. I know more of Howard Jones' material than Thomas Dolby.
Right. I think Thomas Dolby would be a more lively concert because he's pretty. I've seen clips of his old concerts and it's lively.
Did you know that's him playing keyboards on Foreigner's "Girl Like You"?
You know, he played the keyboards on Joan Armatrading's "Me, Myself, and I."
Yeah, that's an old one.
Yeah.
Wow.
See,
That's very cool.
I could go back. That's a great album.
I sit here by myself. Yeah, it is. That's cool.
An old girlfriend turned me on to that back in 81. I was dating her, and her sister is a big Joan Armatrading fan. And she's like, we got to listen to this album. And I was like, oh, fuck. And I got my jean jacket with the Rolling Stones fucking sticker, the whole thing, the tongue on the back. And I'm like, damn, this is a good album. Joan Armatrading.
Yeah.
That might be Kenny Jones on drums.
Who should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just on her. She's been fucking 50 years she's been making music.
Yeah.
She actually had a top 10 female, what was it? Top 10 or top. No, she went into jazz and she had the album of the year about 4 or 5 years ago. And just like the lady is just fucking talented, but no credit from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I mean, most people don't even know who she is. And even then, when that song came out, I guess that was like a rare hit for her. But I'd heard her name, but never knew the music. But I thought it was a great song.
Plus, she had what, All the Way from America that came out in like '78.
Wow.
So she'd been around. She's been around for a while.
Yeah.
So, okay, number 5 was No One Is to Blame, Howard Jones. Number 4,
Catch Up Boys.
nope. Holding Back the Years by Simply Red.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Number 3.
Scott, are these the top 10 singles of the year? Like these were
No, this week.
This week, okay.
This week in 1986. Top 10 this week, and the week ending June 28th, I think it was. Number 3, Crush on You by The Jets.
Oh, memories.
Yeah, right. Number 2, There'll Be Sad Songs by Billy Ocean. And number 1 this week in 1986, On My Own, Patti LaBelle and Michael McDonald.
Michael McDonald.
Great song. Michael
But
McDonald,
you can
Lou.
easily substitute him for Rick Astley, and they sound fucking exactly the same.
No more broken promises.
Sounds-
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
My wife, I couldn't believe she pulled that one out.
pretty
I asked her, who's
funny.
singing? She goes, isn't that Rick Astley? I was like, oh, couldn't believe that. I was like, how did I not catch that?
Have you ever seen the Camp Michael McDonald skits? The comedian that does the Michael McDonald impersonation.
On what?
There's a comedian that does Michael McDonald impersonation. He does them as a camp counselor. It's called Camp Michael McDonald. It was on the Conan O'Brien show.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty funny. And there's an old SCTV skit with Rick Moranis playing the world's greatest backup vocalist, and he plays Michael McDonald. But definitely some funny stuff.
I saw Michael McDonald at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. I lived right around the corner from it. And What a Fool, what's his big song? What a Fool Believes?
Yeah.
With the Doobies, yeah. I mean, Taking It to the Streets, that was the first big one with him.
I think.
With the Doobies.
Minute by
I
minute.
think What a Fool
Minute by
Believes,
minute.
he actually let one of the backup singers sing it, like the majority of the song.
Wow.
I think he's just sick. It was one of, it might have been that one or another.
You're thinking of Elvin Bishop with Mickey Hart, not Mickey Hart, singing "Fooled Around and Fell in Love." Is that what you're thinking? 'Cause he was a the song, Elvin Bishop's song, "Fooled Around and Fell in Love." That's a backup singer that sang the lead, but went on to sing with Jefferson Starship. Mickey something.
When I was at the show, and the backup singer sang one of his, it was one of his solo singles.
He's probably just tired of some of those songs.
Yeah, and
Was it Jean Moby there?
But I think that's the case. Yeah. All right, so that's it. The top 10 in 1986. Moving on to This Day in Music.
Yay!
Yay! Enough of that. As my iPad, I just shit the bed on me.
Oh no.
Jack would be really happy, but I have my iPhone, so there we go. And it just has to load up with the.
As it's loading, do you know what the number one song was the day you were born? The number one song in the U.S.
No.
Mine was Tossing and Turning. I thought that was a 50s song. I didn't sleep at all last night. Dun, 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 dun. Tossing and turning.
I'm going on. I'm going to go on my screen right here, my computer screen, because I can. This Day in Music, June 29th, 1961. Del Shannon was number 1 on the UK singles chart with
Runaway.
There you go.
In
Does he have
61? That was 61?
That was 61, yeah.
Wow.
Let's see. It was a sad day on this day in 1975. American singer-songwriter Tim Buckley died of an overdose of heroin and morphine at the age of 28. Wow. The magic number. Yeah. He never gets lumped in with all those other 28-year-olds, right? Kurt Cobain,
27.
Jimi Hendrix.
27.
That's 27. Oh, okay.
Yeah, outlived him by a year.
Good for you, Timmy.
Yeah,
Good for
really.
you. Fuck Jim Morrison and Jimi Hendrix.
Heroin and morphine, huh?
Yeah, he went out big. He released 9 albums, including the 1972 release, Greetings from L.A. Buckley is the father of singer-songwriter Jeff Buckley.
Who also died.
Yeah.
Bizarre death.
Well, yeah, how did he die again?
He drowned.
He was swimming in the Mississippi.
That's
I
right.
believe.
No,
Yeah.
it was not the It was another. Was it in Louisiana?
Oh.
Well, he was swimming in a river.
He was in a river at nighttime.
Yeah.
How old was he?
Now, that happened in the 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Early
2000s, I think.
Yeah.
Great voice.
Yeah.
Amazing singer. That was his father.
On this day in 1984, Bruce Springsteen kicked off the first leg of his Born in the USA tour. Talk about a fucking overrated, overplayed song. Good fucking
I
Lord.
forgot about that. Yeah.
I had it on my list. We just kind of moved on because conversation went down the rabbit hole, right? As these conversations do. But I had that fucker on my list. Born in the USA. I don't know. That's a fuck. I might listen to Bohemian Rhapsody before I listen to that fucking song
Really?
again.
Oh, wow.
It's the production. Big drums, just
Kind of sick
bombastic.
of it.
Yeah.
Kind of really sick of it, yeah. So he kicked off the first leg of his Born in the USA tour with a 3-night run at the Civic Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. Springsteen would play a total of 156 shows, ending on October 2nd, 1985 in Los Angeles. On this day in 1985, it was a fucking shitty day on this day in 1985 when David Bowie and Mick Jagger recorded a version of the Martha Reeves and the Vandellas 61 Dancing in the Streets. Good Lord.
Tokyo.
Oh, that song. That was part of a conversation.
Video and song equally bad.
That's what it was.
Take that and the Billy Squire Rock Me Tonight video. You got two things as bad, yeah.
Interestingly enough, they did that for the forthcoming Live Aid fundraiser event. The single went on to become a #1 UK hit. Did you know? There's a did you know in here. I like the did you knows. The original plan was to perform a track together live with Bowie performing at Wembley Stadium and Jagger at John F. Kennedy Stadium until it was realized that the satellite link-up would cause a half-second delay that would make this impossible unless either Bowie or Jagger mimed their part of the song, something neither artist was willing to do.
Ooh.
But Jack went to that Live Aid concert, and he said they played that fucking song, that video, on a loop.
Oh, wow.
He said it just kept playing. It played it and playing it. It was like on what they called back then a big screen, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And he said it was fucking, they must have played it 50 times.
Did he hate it as much as we do?
I'm sure he does. And then there's the video of those two doing Dance in the Streets with no vocals and no music.
Have you seen
just them dancing.
But there's some weird noises that go in. It's like, like little animal
it's
noises.
like a soft shoe.
Yeah.
Right? Whoever put that together was fucking a comic genius. Fucking brilliant. On this day in 2020, American singer-songwriter Benny Mardones died at the age of 73. He scored his single hit, Into the Night, which hit the top 20 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart twice, in 1980 and 1989. Now, I mentioned earlier one of the greatest opening lines in music was LL Cool J's "Don't Call It a Comeback, I've Been Here for Years." One of the most fucking cringe, disturbing fucking opening lines of a song in history, in my opinion, is Into the Night, where it says, "She's just 16 years old, leave her alone."
And if you listen, I heard that song recently. If you listen, he sings. It's a long song. At the end of it, he's screaming so maniacally. It sounds like he's trying to kill her. Whoever produced that should have said that last minute sing. It's got really violent sounding at the end. It's creepy.
He couldn't have said 18. No. Had to say 16.
Yep.
She's just 16 years old. Leave her alone. Yeah, it's my fucking daughter. Yeah.
That's right.
You can bet. You can fucking bet. All right. Born on this day in 1953, Colin Hay, Scottish-Australian musician with Men at Work. Yep. So I had a chance to see him and the Violent Femmes literally right down the street from me. There's this amphitheater in this beautiful park here in Boca. And I was coming home from work. I'm like, I'm going to go see this. Like, it's fucking right there. Had the drop-in visitor. And I can't just say, hey, I'm leaving. Gonna go into a concert.
Was it Tom Spallone bringing you pizza? Hey, Scott.
Dave Phillips says Mick Jagger is the best writer and frontman ever. Arguably.
And Dave
Writer,
Phillips,
I don't know. Writer, I don't know. But frontman,
Yeah.
he also says Mickey Thomas sang the lead, and
that was Mickey Thomas. Yeah.
Yeah.
there you go. Dave Phillips is a little music man. He's a music man.
Did Colin Hay play solo, or did he play with a band?
No, it was him solo.
His solo stuff is, I mean, those Men at Work songs done acoustically are great.
Yeah.
And other things.
Yep. And that's the only important person born on that day, or the only motherfucker that I knew in the list. So that's the show.
Okay, can I just add one thing?
Buddy.
Show you how young I am. The number one song when I was born was Get Back by the Beatles. And during the show, Tom checked in and said, hey, bitches, should I ask him for his doctor's note?
Oh, he owes a doctor's note. There's no doubt about
definitely.
that.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. Do you
better.
have that up on your computer, Mark, right now? The date, like what the number one song was?
On my birthday?
Yeah, on your computer. Do you have it up on your computer?
Yeah, you want me to
I
look
know
for a
mine.
date?
Some fucked up like doo-wop band or something. December 18th, 1963. Let's see what it was.
Sugar
I know
Shack.
It's not.
Sugar Shack.
Is it really?
I'm gonna say Sugar Shack.
Oh,
You said
jeez.
63, right, Scott?
Yeah. December 18th.
Dominique by the Singing Nun was the
Dominique,
number one song.
Nico.
I tell you some fucked
That's
up song. I remember looking that up going, what the fuck?
I have a book, the top selling albums of the 60s. That album is way up there. The Singing
Fucking-
Nun.
They were so fucked up in the 60s, weren't they?
Look how much
It's better than
weird
Dominic
stuff
the
was-
Christmas Donkey. I mean,
Look how much weird stuff was on there, though. I mean, there was top 10 records. There was comedy albums. Bob Newhart, Bill Cosby.
It was the Wild West of music
Yeah.
and radio, and it was just anything goes.
Yeah, pre-British invasion.
Yeah.
I think the best American music was the Motown stuff, because a lot of the other stuff, like Sugar Shack and all these other songs, Bobby Rydell, those really bad teen idols.
I would rather have
Avalon,
fucking Sugar Shack than the Singing Nuns with Dominique. I just think you can't even brag about that. That's embarrassing.
Do you know the song?
I think I probably heard it, but it's
You
just-
have. Yeah, I'm sure you have.
It's embarrassing.
It's weird. It's not even in English. Oh,
I can't even brag about that. I have
and you don't dare play it
Change
because they'll
your
probably
birthday.
sue you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, all right, everybody. Listen, I want to thank you guys immensely. This is always fun.
We had a
Always
great
good.
time.
Yeah, it's always great conversation. You guys always pull shit out that I'm like, what the fuck?
You did it today, too.
Yeah, well, I have my moments. Moments. But I want to thank you guys. And again, open invitation anytime you guys want to come on. The Music Relish podcast, you can find it on Spotify. What else? Are there any on YouTube? The YouTube channel, Music Relish.
Yeah.
YouTube channel. And they just started. You recorded your first show last night, yeah?
Sunday, yeah.
All right.
On Sunday.
All right.
So it's up now.
What's the topic?
It was more random relish, but we did a thing of all the songs of summer. I quizzed Perry and Mark about, I'd name the song and they'd have to tell me the artist. We did that.
And Scott, what I did, my thing was the albums released in 1979. If you ever get a chance, Google albums released in 1979.
I have.
Incredible
Fucking
year.
unbelievable.
Amazing. All over the board.
I actually, it's funny you said that. I had posted a video some years back on all the hits from I think it was 1979. Or the albums, and it was just like, whoa! And there were little snippets.
Oh, tons of them, yeah. And
even
it was
some of those singles, like Bram Tchaikovsky's "Girl of My Dreams." You know that song?
no.
It's the best rock song ever written about a blow up doll. It's called "Girl of My Dreams." Bram Tchaikovsky, like a one hit wonder. It was. I graduated high school in '79, but I remember that was all over the radio. But we're saying that was the year rock took some ground back from disco. Remember the disco versus
Certainly
rock years?
did.
Disco sucks.
Yeah, that.
But 1979, there was still some disco, but it was kind of on the down low there. But rock made a huge comeback.
Oh, that was the end of
Driver's
Dynasty.
Seat.
It was the end of the 70s big bands like The Who, Zeppelin were winding down. Dinosaur Rock was winding down.
Yeah.
Disco was winding down, but then New Wave was coming with
Yeah.
Talking Heads and the Police, and it was just an incredible time in music. So I think, Lou, we got to redo that show.
Yeah. I spoke about Henry Diltz, the famous rock photographer. He did over 250 album covers. He did a lot of portraits as well, like of the Eagles album covers, the Desperado stuff. But he's an Eagles documentary. An interesting guy. He's a bluegrass musician, so he also played the banjo on America's Don't Cross the River. But he was a musician before he was a photographer. Interesting guy, but some of the album covers over 250 well-known album covers. They're hard to find. The names are hard to find. I had to do a lot of digging, but he's got some books out. I'm going to get one of his books about the whole California, Laurel Canyon scene. He was the official photographer for Monterey Pop Festival and Woodstock.
Did you ever watch the documentary Laurel Canyon?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That all those fucking people, they were all in the same place.
All in the same neighborhood, yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
What a time.
Well, again, guys, I appreciate it. Maybe one day we'll get Perry to come on. We'll see.
Work on him. We'll work on him. He
can stay mysterious. That's fine. I wish you guys luck with your podcast, although I don't think I have to. If you get a chance, go listen to it. Their content is solid. If you like the show and you watch it on YouTube, subscribe. If you've listened for the whole 2 hours. 2 hours, guys. We broke our last record. The last one we did was like an hour 45. We just broke it by 10 minutes.
There's no marathon, some weekend marathon.
You know, there's these channels on YouTube that I like, Nerdrotic, and it's pop culture stuff, right? And they rail against Disney and the whole thing. They want to bring back old Star Wars, but they will do these like shows. It's like one of them is called Friday Night Tights, and he has on all these other YouTubers. There'll be like 6 of them, and they do these 4-hour marathons. And, some of it gets a little kind of everybody's talking at the same time type thing. But I think if we really wanted, we could do at least 3 hours. We could probably keep talking for another hour. Although I don't think the podcast listeners want to hear a 3-hour podcast. Right. It'll be like Perry's hearing that the Grateful Dead song. I got in my car. I stuck in traffic.
They're still talking.
It's the same fucking song. They're still talking about Benny Margolis. What the fuck? How do they do that?
Listen to that song, people. Listen to the end of it. It's like Jack the Ripper took the microphone from it. It's horrible.
He's insane. And listen, I won't be doing a show next week, 4th of July. I will be in St. Augustine enjoying the 4th of July there. It is a phenomenal place to go see the fireworks and just to be. The beaches are great. The people are friendly. The food is good. And it's always a great time, St. Augustine. And listen, guys, we got to do this again.
Yeah. Please.
We got to do this again.
Anytime.
Yeah. Yeah. And next time, Tom, he'll bring his doctor's note.
Yep.
He'll bring his doctor. That's almost, now it's a requirement.
No excuses.
And everybody, again, thanks for listening. I appreciate you listening. To quote my favorite artist, Morrissey, the pleasure, the privilege is mine doing this show. You are the engine that makes this machine run. Without you, I would be talking to myself or these guys. And it's no fun if no one's listening. Well, it is fun, but it's better when people are listening, right? Sure. Yeah. You kind of get it out there like, yeah, I know some shit. So what? What? And I will be back in a couple weeks. I don't know if Jack will be back. He might be traveling still, but we'll work it out one way or another. But again, thanks for listening, and see you in the next